Wait, you're an athlete and you're smoking? Yeah. What are you smoking anyway? Wood. That's a pretty dangerous drug. That's one of the worst ones. And anyway, you shouldn't really be smoking if you're an athlete. That's really stupid. Hello everybody, Nick here, and welcome to my review of Class Episode 2, The Coach with the Dragon Tattoo. Starting straight off the bat, I can say this one is probably better than the first one. Maybe not by much, because I kind of enjoyed both episodes pretty well on the same level, but this one might be slightly better. Maybe because, as people have been saying, the first one's like a pilot. That had to get out of the way in order for them to do an actual story. So we start the actual stories with this episode where a coach has a dragon tattoo, and it seems that the tattoo seems to be killing people. I can also say that this is probably the beginning of Ram's storyline. Okay, the beginning of it after the first episode. I think April's one's going to be coming back around in episode 4, and Tanya's actually is going to start proper episode 3. But I will not hold myself to that. I'm not sure what the title of episode 3 is going to be. I'll put it in the edit at the end. But episode 2, yeah, it's got a good premise. If a tattoo started just killing people, or the coach turned into a dragon. At least that's what we probably thought. But actually a bit cleverer. It's actually another dragon killing people, so that the dragon tattoo, that's a tattoo on the coach, can feed off the blood. Yeah. So, and Ram's trying to fight the grief of the death of his girlfriend in the last episode. One problem I have with this episode and the storyline and the arc Ram goes on is they keep showing clips of the girl getting murdered over and over it for about most of the episode. I don't know if it was in the previously, but it was at least 3 times throughout the episode. 1 or 2 would be fine. This the one where he sees the cleaner getting murdered, that would work, because that's remembering back. But I think there's another one where he's talking to Tanya not too long later. And I think there's a third one later on, or earlier on, that didn't need to be there. So, what would have fitted would have been maybe a sequence of memory of him having a couple of memories of the form of his dead girlfriends before then remembering her being stabbed. And I wouldn't be surprised if we got the clips shown again in the next episode, because there's going to be something on ghosts next time. So I wouldn't be surprised if they showed the clip again. It would work if it... I wouldn't have a problem with it being shown again in the 3rd episode if it wasn't for the fact we had it repeatedly done for about most of this episode. Well, not repeatedly, but quite a bit time. So it's done quite a bit. Yeah, I don't really have many issues with it. That's one of the few issues I've got this episode. Maybe one of the only 2 main issues. The other main issue I've got, I may as well get this out of the way now, is that they kill off Mr. Armitage after 2 episodes. I mean, I'm annoyed about this because he's a character from Series 8 who was going to transit over into this series. He was one of those characters that if we saw the main series, we could see him as a regular, maybe not as a main character, but as kind of a regular secondary character. Sorry, crumbs, and he gets killed off after 2 episodes. Didn't even have that many appearances in Doctor Who anyway. He only had about 2 on-screen appearances and 1 off-screen with his voice in Into the Dalek and The Caretaker for on-screen and Dark Water for the voice only. And then these 2 episodes of Glass, and that's it. He's killed off after 5 appearances, 2 in Class. I just hope that the next headmaster or headmistress is going to be related to the plot of the series. It's going to have some way of tying into the plot of series 1 or the show overall, because they shouldn't have killed him off if they were not going to go down that route. Alternatively, make Miss Quill the headmistress, though that might be better for more of the end of the series. So, if they killed Mr. Armitage off so they could get a new headmaster or headmistress in, that would, I just hope they do it well. And if the new head teacher is not going to be related to the plot, either throughout the series or in a certain episode later on, then I don't know why they killed him off, apart from to create a brand new character. And considering they've been referencing previous characters like Barbara, Clara, Danny, and the Doctor, and we might even see Ian at some point, possibly. This is not certain. It's like the Caretaker. It was never certain. Or any episode from series 8 or 9. There's something about the governors, as Ian is supposed to be one, as said by Dave the Doctor, but we'll get round to that later. Whilst Ram is on his story arc, the other characters are pretty much chilling for most of the episode, until just worried about him until Mr. Armitage's death. Then they're really into the plot properly. Though Tanya gets in a bit earlier because she's helping Ram investigate. Helping Ram investigate. Really, until nearer to the end, you could take out all the characters except maybe Tanya, and this episode would probably just be one episode for Ram. A Ram solo storyline, apart from maybe a few scenes with Tanya's help. I'm not a big fan of football, but I can see Ram's situations, so I do feel sympathy for him. Even though I'm not so worried about the sport, better you than me, mate. I would say. And I will say now that the coach with the dragon tattoo from both these first 2 episodes, he gets killed off or kidnapped after 2 episodes as well. He's a dick. He's a bit of a dick. That's an understatement. He's a big dick. And the fact he's a selfish bastard holding onto the dragon tattoo doesn't help his character, which is all the more reason why we are rooting for him to be killed at the end. He doesn't get killed, but he gets taken back through this this tear that the 2 dragons came through. Oh yeah, the first one, the female, she came through and kind of fell into him, so she fell onto him, but then she kind of somehow got engraved on his skin into the form of a tattoo that can move, after falling on him. But the collision turned her into a tattoo. I don't think that works. I think she would have squashed him. She would have crushed him. She would be on top of him. She wouldn't be embedded into his skin, unless it was some kind of alien powers, which they didn't explain. At least I don't remember them explaining it. She just collided with the coach one night, and yeah. And then the male came through. Yeah. Male and female, it's a mating thing. So yeah, that bit of a daft reason. it was quite gory, quite violent. I would say it's a little more scary than the last one. The last one had killings, but there was only one bloody killing, I think, maybe one or two. In the last episode. This time you got about 3. We're really pushing that 15 rating, by the way. In fact, iPlayer said no one, if you have to be over 16 to view it. Well, not have to be, they just asked if you were. So, yeah, I maybe currently at 12, 15 borderline at the moment, but it's probably gone a bit more 15 with the second episode. This is UK rating, by the way. And Ireland, probably, according to the DVD covers that they've got on Amazon at the moment. Available on the 2nd of January. It's on the DVD that they've got on the DVD and Blu-ray covers on Amazon. And whilst this is going on, there's a secondary subplot about Miss Quill and this inspector guy. This Ofsted inspector person has come in to inspect class, particularly Miss Quill's physics class. And she suspects something's odd about him, because he keeps looking straight forward, he keeps writing, and one day she snaps it. She loses it and throws a stapler at him, and then then yells at him. Oh, sorry if any noise outside. And she's like, "Who are you?" He doesn't really respond to her, but then we see her in the office with Mr. Armitage. He's kind of telling her that he's reported her or something, I don't know. And then later we find out, and then she gets a bit jiggy with him, because she confronts him. She asks him what does he want. He writes down "you" on his little notebook, and she then starts coming on to him. And then the dragon attacks, and it's revealed he's a robot after she pushes him into the dragon's way and is killed. Turns out he's a robot, and only she is interested in it. I mean, when she tells the other students, by the way, the inspector was a robot, they're not listening. They're paying more attention to the dragon and the coach. And at the end, after they battled, she's like, seriously, doesn't anybody care about the robot? And the very last scene is her inspecting the robot's remains with the words "the governors" on it. And the governors were the ones who sent something about the inspector, agreed for him to come to visit, scheduled something. I don't know. But the fact he's been made by the governors or owned by them starts to make sense. So, who are the governors? Only time will tell, I hope. And there's a very nice joke from Mr. Armitage about Ofsted. He's from Ofsted. Of course he's evil. I think Miss Quill was complaining about how he's evil, and Mr. Armitage just digs at Ofsted, which is very funny, especially considering this guy's going to die by it. Sorry, lots of drums. This guy's, as I was saying, especially as this guy is going to die sometime throughout this episode. It's nice to see a bit more of him, and him to get a bit of a joke in. Also, Ram's father finds out about this. He's probably the only parent figure so far to find out about the alien fighting and stuff. At least Ram tells him about the legend. And he's actually quite cool with it. In fact, he goes on to reminding Ram about it when he was younger and he was practicing becoming football. And we then see Ram try practicing again until he gets better with his new leg. So I think Ram's going to be a pretty cool and pretty nice character in the future episodes if we see him more. Because he's quite cool with his son fighting the aliens, or at least that's the impression I got. He's okay with the new leg. I don't expect Tanya's mum to be so easy go. I don't think she'd be as this cool. She'd be like, "What? Aliens? Are you mad? You can't keep doing this." And as for Rachel's mother, who I think we got introduced into this episode, I think she'd kind of be in between. On the scale, so Ram's father's fine. Tanya's mother wouldn't be April's mother would be sort of in the middle. Crumbs. And that's really pretty much it for this episode. There isn't really much to talk about. The acting's nice. The jokes are funny. The few nitpicks, like the fact that we've got Mr. Armitage dying after only 2 episodes, and the fact we keep seeing the flashback to Rachel's death from the last episode, that's Run's girlfriend, several times, once or twice, maybe okay. The flash, if it's not in the previously, I'm actually kind of glad that, because that would probably be one of the other good times, if they would have it 3 times. That, the scene where he's remembering it whilst the cleaner gets killed, and one other time, maybe later on, perhaps, maybe nearer to the end of the episode, because that would then give it time gaps between it. But I think the first flashback is when the cleaner's death, but then the second one is only about 5 minutes or so later, or less than, and then there's maybe a third one not too long later after that. Yeah. Before I wrap up, I should talk about the titles and song. I didn't do that last week. I should have. Not last week, last time. The titles are pretty much brilliant. They're not perfect, but they look pretty cool. Yeah, they're probably the most visually interesting or stylish of the Doctor Who spin-offs, though a close contender would probably be the Sarah Jane Adventures. I haven't seen every single spin-off title sequence. Can't remember the K9 one. And there's also all those BVV and other direct-to-video and DVD spin-offs and spin-off series. But main series are K9 Company, Torchwood, the Sarah Jane Adventures, K9 and Class for fictional, and Doctor Who Confidential, Totally Doctor Who Extra, Torchwood Declassified, and the Sarah Jane Adventures Monster Files for non-fiction. Oh, and Doctor Who's Greatest Moments. And other documentaries series. So yeah, but the titles look pretty good. They're really good and probably the most visually interesting. The song, the start, well, at first I didn't think it was that great, and it didn't fit the Doctor Who universe. Listening to it a bit more, it works for Class, and I like it a bit more now. But it's still not quite a Doctor Who universe-y theme. If you heard Torchwood and the Sarah Jane's themes, they're pretty cool. They work pretty well. Torchwood is a completely new theme tune, and Sarah Jane Adventures sounds a bit like the Doctor Who one, but like each new different version of the Doctor Who theme, it's actually got something new and different added in, and it actually sounds like something different with the classic Who theme engraded into it. Also, K9 Company had a really fun tune you can have a dance to. It's a fun little dance. I can't remember the 09 theme. The non-fiction ones are pretty good as well, where Torchwood Declassified and Sarah Jane Alien Files pretty much use the themes from the main shows, and Doctor Who Confidential Series 5 and 6 use the Greatest Moments theme. Sorry for that, John Cotter. I was about to turn the camera off, but the phone got on because the phone was ringing, but the phone did get answered, so just jumped me moving back and forth. Thank goodness it's not brand new footage. So yeah, the song is good, but I wouldn't really have. But it's not an original song. It's a song that they've taken from elsewhere. Up All Night. I can't remember the singer's second name. It begins with an Alex, but it should be in the edit somewhere.
We've been up all night, all night, all night, all night.
song, but well, or at least I hope they got permission to use it, and maybe are paying the songwriter like Jessica for Top Gear. Although that was actually I think that's a different an instrumental version of that song, and maybe it sounds a bit different. Yeah, this is not an original song. It's an edited version of a song that's about 4 years old or something. So it is good, but it's not going to be one of the strongest ones. The titles are going to be one of the stronger title sequences, but the song's not going to be one of the strongest songs, despite being good. It's not original song or music to the series, which is Doctor Who and Universe kind of do more original song basis, especially for the title song and music, especially for title sequences. When they do bring in other music, it's usually fun sequences like I Can't Decide, or in The Last of the Time Lords, or those songs in End of the World. Yeah, it's usually for fun sequences. The Doctor Who doesn't usually steal other songs or music. So, yeah. And whilst it does work with Class, it doesn't quite work with Doctor Who Universe. I suppose the fact that it works with Class is an advantage, though. So that's pretty much it from Class Episode 2, The Coach with the Dragon Tattoo. I should probably point out this is Series 1. I'll probably be, if there's a Series 2, I'll probably be saying Class Series 2, Episode 2, if it comes around. So yeah, giving the Coach with the Dragon Tattoo 8 out of 10.
Sun is out while I'm walking home, my head's up in the clouds, trying to get myself to bed, but I really don't know how.
Yeah, I like it more than the last episode, and it's got some better stuff, and there's not that many nitpicks. But I don't think it's good enough to be a 9. But similarly, I don't think either episode are bad enough to be a 7. So they're both 8, which 8 is my most often score. Average is not most often. This is average. This is average stuff. It's halfway. That's 5. No. The score that people when they use most often, like 7 or 8 out of 10 for a lot of stuff, that's a mode score, not an average score. Average score is 5. This is 8 is my mode score because it's my most often. If you see my film reviews, you'll probably notice that. And yeah. Yeah, so 8 out of 10 for The Coach with the Dragon Tattoo. Next week, I can't remember the title, but it should be in the edit at the end, for the next review. So, yeah, thank you for watching. This one's a little shorter, I think. I could be wrong, of course. And I'll see you guys next time. See ya. Who are you? What do you want? Me. You don't know how it feels. I'm trapped here. I'm trapped. You understand? I can't go. I could have you. Come. Join me in my hour of need. Seriously, I am seriously trapped here. Uh-oh. Oh, he's a robot. That makes sense. phone's ringing. Oh, thank God.